Every time.
That's a cute face right there.
It is.
Welcome to another episode of Into the West Comics. This week, we're doing another episode of Run It Back. We're going to be talking about the rise of Skywalker. Boo. I don't think a lot of us are going to have a lot of very nice things to say about this film. I have like a little numbers rundown for box office. I'm going to talk about towards the end of the video.
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
But we're going to start off. We're going to introduce everybody. We're going to go Sunzilla across the table from me. There he is, looking beautiful as usual. And then we got Brother Marcus as Oh, now that I'm saying it, it's racist. All right. And then we have what does Frank call Austin? Milkshake. And then we got the man himself,
Big
Frankie
Papi
over
Chulo.
there.
He's watching the
Papi
game.
Chulo over there watching.
Hi.
There he is.
What it do, baby?
Hey, do it.
There it is.
Quote of the week.
So I'll start with Sunny and go around the room. What are your initial thoughts when you think about the rise of Skywalker?
Ooh, that sucks. That's probably like.
I was like, what did I ask you?
No. Originally, we were talking about it a little bit off camera. To tee it up, this could have been so amazing, and it was shot beautifully.
Yeah.
There's a couple scenes that I'm like, this is, with all the technology, the CG, and even the places and the locations that they're shot at, it's really gorgeous. But unfortunately, I feel like there was more bad than good, and it. It's towards the end of the movie where it kind of gets a little wonky and kooky, but I think it like
good way to describe it.
Introducing all these like weird kind of force connection powers and stuff really lost me, and I think I wanted it to be more focused on the rise of things and everybody getting this whole cool ending, and I don't think I got that at all, and it really sucks because you're probably gonna tell the numbers later.
Yeah,
I'm sure it did well in the movies in the beginning because people were going to go see it just because of what it was and it's Star Wars. Right. But I think now going back to it, I think there's a lot more arguments between all the other movies, what's good and what's bad. And then you bring this one up and it's usually always bad.
Yeah. Not many people have very nice things to say about this movie. And if they're not nice things or if they're not bad things, they're like, oh, it was whatever things. Yeah. Marcus, what did you think?
Yeah, so really the same sentiment as Sonny. I think my major problem with it, aside from it existing, is the fact that it felt like there was too much crammed into this movie. Yeah. It was like, oh, by the way, we have to resolve this plot point.
Yes.
Oh, by the way, the stuff that happened at the end of this movie probably would have had more impact if they had started building it up back in the other two movies.
Yeah.
So even like, with Palpatine coming back and all that, which I don't like either. If he was maybe teased a little more.
It seems very random.
It's very odd.
Right. If he was maybe teased a little more, but we were so focused on Snoke the whole time. And then all of a sudden, oh, Palpatine's back. What?
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Do it.
Yeah, so it was that was I didn't like that part. Also, it seemed like kind of like with the Force powers, they were introducing a lot of other new characters in this as well.
Yeah.
Like the black lady with the riding of the little.
Oh,
yeah, she was
stormtrooper or whatever.
Yeah. I was like,
whatever.
Who is this? Is that Finn? Is that she related to Finn? What?
No one knew. It was kind of like, hey, do you want to
just throwing him in there?
So now we got 3 black people in the galaxy. Oh man, we got Lando. We got Finn.
And now this lady.
Wow. And only one of the 3 are actually worth talking about.
That's true.
Because Finn is terrible as a character. He's garbage.
He could have been great. He could have been great.
And they did have I did like a lot of the chemistry in the beginning of seeing them 3 together, but then it just fell so lame.
It was bad.
Yeah. It basically, to me, it just felt like a Disney cash grab.
Yeah,
it really did.
Yeah.
And even anytime you have like, I think it was J.J. Abrams.
Yeah,
he was even like,
he got thrown into it kind of a little bit.
We kind of had to do this because we were told.
And
to.
that's not a good sign.
That's not a good sign at all. And so, but I think Rey, if anything could come out of this movie as well as the 3, Rey was probably the strongest character out of all 3 to me in terms of just being compelling. You're interested in her history. You're interested in her.
Yeah.
And then but that's about it.
I agree.
About it.
Yeah.
Austin, what did you think?
Yeah, I was really pumped for this. I saw it with Frank. My dad bought like 30 tickets to go see it. We're really excited.
Just the three of us, but
Just
we
the
had 30
three of us,
seats.
but we had 30 tickets. Right when the credits rolled, when I watched it this morning, I was like, oh God. Like when it said he's back, it was like the worst writing. Like, you know, like they do like the credit, he's back. I'm like, okay, cool. You remember that at the beginning? Like it says like he's back.
During
like,
the
I watched it again today
yeah,
too,
so I was
unfortunately.
like, okay. And then the funniest part of the whole movie is like they totally wrote off Rose. Like at the beginning, he's
Yeah.
like, "Hey, do you want to come with me?" No, okay. See ya.
Well, I'm gonna talk about
See ya.
that
And
kind
then like you don't see her ever again. That was funny. But yeah, the movie was pretty like it was pointless. Pretty much the whole movie. When I watched it again today, I was like, man, this movie's rough. There's so much
Yeah.
crammed in, like what all you guys said, and all the Force stuff. And the Knights of Ren, they finally showed up, and they have axes. They don't have lightsabers. They don't have
Bro.
anything. They're kind of people that don't talk. They're just walking behind them really
Right.
awkwardly, and then they all die at the
Cool
end.
character design.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
really like
I
I would
character
love to
design.
see him like the first movie when they
Yeah.
like show like the Force like projection of them
Yes.
like looking all cool, like ooh, this is gonna be awesome. Don't see him
They
ever again.
show up with battle axes.
Yeah, and then Palpatine looking half dead, and like I'm confused. Why is he alive? Is he
Is he a clone?
dead?
Is he
Like,
dead still?
What's happening with that? But
There was a lot of what's happening.
Yeah.
In the movie.
Yeah, I was like, well, I don't mean to interrupt, but
Yeah.
the one part of the movie that makes me laugh every time, it's like, we lost the knife, so we got to
Oh,
clean
yeah, the
C-3PO's memory so
Yeah.
he can translate it for us. And then 20 minutes later, they have
Yeah.
the knife, and it's like, why did you even do that?
Yeah.
Because it's actually kind of a touching scene with
Yeah.
C-3PO. He's like, I'm taking one last look at my friends. It's
Yeah.
like, that part works, but then 20 minutes later, you did it for no reason.
Literally.
No.
And
And
then,
it's- yeah.
And then my favorite, it's the funniest. I almost started laughing was when they were riding horses on the
On the
battleship.
ship, on the Imperial ship.
Ben and them riding the horses. That was making me laugh. And I remember Frank was laughing really hard at the end of the movie. I still remember this when that old lady's like, "Who are you, Rey?" And then she sees the Force Ghost. He's like, "Oh God, here we go." And he said, "Rey Scott." He just started I heard him huff like half the movie. Like that. Yep. Like that the whole movie. I was sitting right next to him. I was like, man, he's loving this movie right now. This is great.
Wow.
And then, I looked up the Rotten Tomatoes. This is the second. It's lower ratings than Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
53%.
I've got
It's at 66. The Attack of the Clones.
I've got all those numbers.
30 tickets?
My dad was really hyped for it. It was crazy.
I know why he did it, though. I know why he did
He's
it.
probably pissed afterwards. Though.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
We had
probably
fun.
was.
But
he probably,
everyone came. Everyone came and watched it. They were excited. And then,
Oh, people actually showed up. Okay, I thought he was just
No,
buying
no,
out the
no,
seats so
no.
people wouldn't be
no,
clapping
people.
and
They
celebrating.
said they were
Put my
coming,
feet
so
up.
we bought the tickets, and then yeah,
Oh, okay.
it was an exciting ending. Everyone was so pumped after that. It was great. The
What
variant was there
Why
too.
do I get?
Also,
I get the image of like how we all felt like after we saw Ant-Man Quantumania, when we all just were like,
okay.
I didn't even watch
We
Rise
started
of
looking at our
Skywalker in
phones,
theaters.
and
I
we were
remember
like-
you said
we
that.
were
That's
like,
funny.
oh,
That's probably a good thing. Probably a good thing.
I saw the trailer and that Palpatine was back. I was like, yeah, I can wait until this comes out on DVD.
That's funny. You're
I'll
right.
wait.
You're right.
What did you think, Frank?
If I knew that if I'd seen the trailer and somebody had come to me from the future and had said the trailer is going to give you more anticipation and more excitement than when you actually watch the film, and I'm going to and they're going to save me a lot of time, that would have been great. I think anything Star Wars is like cold pizza. It's still
Oh.
pizza.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
So it's still okay. It's still enjoyable to
Yeah.
a certain degree.
Right.
But the movie had a lot of issues, and they wanted to fix a lot of things
yeah,
that
Yeah.
were
and it was apparent.
they weren't intentional always
Yeah.
to fix them, and a lot of stuff didn't make sense. So when the movie's ending, it's the reason I was huffing a lot was probably because I was short of breath. But we sat way up high. But I think that you have expectations built in because it's a movie that you've watched forever. Those movies,
Yeah.
and it was a letdown.
Mild
Agreed.
salsa.
It was mild salsa.
Cold salsa.
Ooh. Mild
For
cold.
myself, there was a lot of things. I know you guys know I love The Last Jedi. And however you feel about The Last Jedi, whether you liked it or not, it doesn't make sense for them to go and retroactively change everything about the movie from
Agreed.
before. And I'll get into it a little bit. The Last Jedi is 91% from critics on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, and it's a 42% on Rotten Tomatoes for audiences. IMDb is audiences as well.
Yeah.
It was review bombed a little bit on Rotten
For sure.
Tomatoes.
Yeah.
It also made $1.3 billion.
Yeah.
It was a success.
Yeah.
So to go and say, you know what, we're just going to scrap everything from that movie that was successful in almost every facet doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me.
No.
Because the big things people were upset about after that movie was the treatment of Luke, but that doesn't really bleed into here. I liked it. Some people don't, whatever. But people were like Marcus kind of, why was Snoke nobody?
Yeah.
Well, I think it makes more sense to keep him as nobody in the next film rather than go, oh, he was a clone and Palpatine's like, what? That's silly. Just you propped Kylo Ren up, let him be the villain.
Right.
And then the other thing that people were a little salty about, well, oh, Rey's a nobody? How is she so powerful? So then you go and make her a Palpatine. I don't think that's any better. I don't think that made anybody
No.
happy.
Right.
It was those kind of decisions that's like, what are we doing here? And the movie suffered for it. Instead of being able to go, this is Kylo Ren hunting the three main characters.
Yeah.
It's no, he's trying to get them to work with him so he can kill Palpatine. And we saw that in the last movie.
Yeah,
That's literally what happened in the last movie.
Right.
It just wasn't Palpatine. It was Snoke.
Right.
And it's like, it's repetitive. It's not very intuitive. There are some cool scenes where Rey flips over the TIE fighter and hits the thing. She does the force lightning or whatever. It easily could have been Kylo Ren who did it, and you didn't have to make her Palpatine.
Right.
The movie, it upset me so much because I loved The Last Jedi so much. And I saw how much of it they were retroactively changing because this is a huge example of why producers and film directors and writers should not go to the fans for ideas. You are writing the movie for the reason they are not.
Right.
Right.
Whether they like the last one or not, you can't just switch it up like that. It doesn't make any sense. It's not going to make them happy, and it's not going to make the people who liked it happy.
Absolutely not.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about the budgets real quick.
Yeah, what's the numbers
And
looking like?
or not the budget so much as the money that was made. I do think it's a little funny to talk to people when they say Disney killed Star Wars. Well, the only prequel movie that's reviewed better than its counterpart, i.e. Phantom Menace, Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Attack of the Clones, so on and so forth.
Right.
Revenge of the Sith is reviewed better than Rise of Skywalker. That's it. Every other one is reviewed better than the prequel trilogy. And when adjusted for inflation, The Phantom Menace made $842 million. When adjusted for inflation, The Force Awakens made $1.2 billion.
Jeez.
Made more than The Phantom Menace. Attack of the Clones, when adjusted for inflation, made $521 million. The Last Jedi, when adjusted for inflation, made $756 million. Made more money.
Right.
And even the Revenge of the Sith, $589 million when adjusted for inflation. The Rise of Skywalker made $600 million when adjusted for inflation.
It's crazy.
So every single one of the sequel trilogies was more successful, both commercially and for the most part critically.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny when people act like they can't make more Star Wars movies. And what's most people's favorite Star Wars movie other than Empire? Rogue One. That's a Disney movie.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think the sentiment's weird and it gets confused because there's a loud minority that really is like, I don't want to watch these anymore, where they could just keep making them.
Yeah.
And the majority of them are good and well received. And I think Solo scared them a lot, but that was a bad decision. Like, not only was
a lot of people.
That should have been an Obi-Wan movie.
not
That
only
should've-
was it
Yeah,
not
for real.
very good, it bombed because no one cared. No one was asking for a Solo movie. But if you guys did have anything positive to say about the movie other than the cinematography, I'll say I really enjoyed, like I said, the Finn, Poe, and Rey. I think a movie with them being together finally was fun to watch. If it was them up against the Knights of Ren and Kylo, I think this movie would have been a lot of fun. But we didn't get that. I think those characters are fun to see together finally. Sonny, what is one redeeming quality of the story that made you go, oh, I thought that was kind of cool?
I mean, I like Kylo Ren as a character so much.
Me
So
too.
seeing the progression and, he's this evil guy and he wants to be good, but he can't. And then he kills his dad. You know what I mean? I loved everything about that. So unfortunately, that's probably my favorite part, not like just the ending, but I think it does.
That's what Marcus was gonna
That's
say.
what I was going to say. Yeah, that's
See
my
you
point.
around,
So,
See you around, kid.
you know what I'm saying? So visually, character design, that's the kind of stuff I do applaud because the story really just was so lacked. So
Yeah,
unfortunately, that's mine.
I agree. The characters were all very cool. Zori and so on and so forth. Marcus.
The end.
When the credits rolled, when it said
Yeah,
directed by J.J. Abrams.
Other than cinematography, a redeeming quality.
If you don't got one, you don't got one.
Yeah, I really don't think I do because again, reasons I just mentioned.
Right.
It's just not. It just didn't hit. It didn't hit. And it's funny you brought up a good point though, with the metrics and everything, because I'm interested to see how it would do today. Because a lot of times, these movies are terrible. We audiences and the corporate bigwigs and the critics, they all can be on different planes of understanding. And I'm curious to see how much that would change now that we're more streaming. Because I think, for example, like The Flash, we all like The Flash. But they're saying it bombed in the box office. It bombed in the box office. Well, now you have a separation. You have people now. With a few years ago, you had to go to the theater to see it. Now you have a contingent of people who will just say, "Oh, I'll wait till it goes on stream."
Yep.
Right.
Are you accounting that for your box office reviews? Are you where's your metrics?
Right.
So I think there's a disconnect between box office revenue
Streaming changes things
Yeah.
for
and
sure.
streaming.
Oh man.
And there's a disconnect. Everyone's looking at something different, and unfortunately, the corporate bigwigs, they're going to see that as a success because it made these however billions of dollars. But I mean, what is underlying in that?
Yeah.
The thing that confuses me the most about the violent change from Last Jedi to The Rise of Skywalker is The Last Jedi has the lowest drop off from the first movie of a trilogy to the second movie of a trilogy. Empire Strikes Back, as we talked about and we're surprised, made quite a bit less than A New Hope. Attack of the Clones fell way off Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
And The Last Jedi was actually much closer to The Force Awakens, though. So for them to go, oh man, it was reviewed great by critics and made a ton of money, we're going to change everything about it. Didn't make a whole lot of sense.
So bizarre.
Right.
For me, the only thing is Kylo Ren. I kind of liked him throughout the whole trilogy. He was really cool. Every time he was on screen, I was focusing up because he was super cool with the lightsaber. You never really saw that in the movie theater. Like when I saw the first teaser with the two little blades coming out, like, oh, this looks really cool.
This is different.
Adam Driver is great. He's just an amazing actor. He's probably going to be Mr. Fantastic. But I was always hoping that they would make a Knights of Ren movie or like a prequel kind of going back into that or a Disney Plus show.
There's a comic.
Yes, there is. But I just hope they make some type of movie about it, maybe.
Yep.
Probably not because he's going to be Mr. Fantastic, so he's going to be really busy.
Probably, yeah.
So, but just Kylo. Didn't really love Rey. I'm not super excited about the movie, but we'll see what happens.
And last but not least, Frankie,
baby.
I guess the thing that I would take away from it is that I love the lightsaber battle in Rise of Skywalker. I thought that was really fun. As far as things you can take away as like positives, just for the trilogy as a whole, I wish there was more balance to it. Just story wise, execution, everything. I just wish it was more balanced. But looking at it in hindsight, and I've been rewatching the movie just like all of us been rewatching these movies in the last couple of weeks. I think that these characters are more enjoyable when you have a little bit more time to just digest it, like after the fact. I think that Rey as a character is more enjoyable when you see her from movie to movie. She is, she evolves as a character.
I really enjoy her.
She's more fleshed out.
Yeah, and I think that it was an enjoyable story. It wasn't executed all the way through, I would say.
I agree. Before we sign off, let's do a quick out of 10, Sonny.
Ooh. 5.5.
Marcus?
0.
0 out of 10.
0.
5 out of 10.
5 out of 10. I'm going to go 5.5, 6 out of 10 because it's a pretty movie and I like Star Wars.
Visually,
I like Star Wars.
Yeah.
Frank?
Yeah, it's a 6.
6?
Yeah.
What about you, Quan? 4 out of 10 for Kwani. All right, guys, we finished up the sequel trilogy. We'll be getting to Rogue One and Solo here in the next couple weeks. Thank you guys for checking us out. Go to Into_comics. I know. Into_comics on Twitter, at Intothewestcomics Instagram, our podcast feed. Check out the videos coming out every week. And thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. And let us know what you think of Rise of Skywalker. We got a lot of quick responses on The Last Jedi, so that was fun. And shout out Brother Marcus. Thank you guys. We'll see you guys later.
Good night, everyone.
0 out of 10.
0 out of 10. Not even a 1 for like the cinematography? Nope, not even my buddy.